This is Matthew Kratter from Bitcoin University. Today I want to talk about a bit more stinky cheese that has been emanating from Bitcoin Magazine. About a month ago, we talked about Pledator's post here in which he drew attention to a sponsored article, in other words, a paid article that had been published in Bitcoin Magazine in which they were promoting the Karma token airdrop. Francis of Bull Bitcoin had a good comment here. Compromising with shitcoinery is a slippery slope. You start with pseudo-intellectual arguments about what constitutes spam, and months later you're pumping token airdrops. Fortunately, this has since been removed from the website. And at the time, I remember seeing Max Keiser posting how if even one shitcoin got through in El Salvador, the reputational damage and loss of confidence would damage President Bukele's economic freedom agenda irreparably. My response was, do you apply the same standard to Bitcoin Magazine when they run a sponsored post for a shitcoin? Max responded that some stinky cheeses rise to the level of greatness. You might think Bitcoin Magazine stinks, and maybe it does, but in this particular and unique instance, stink tastes fine. And then in a follow-up tweet, I can't believe I shut down the latest Bitcoin Magazine FUD with my stinky cheese analogy. Damn, I'm good. And Max is good. Unfortunately, Max, there's some more stinky cheese here, and it's not the good French kind. So please help us. As I posted yesterday, you may think of Ethereum as unethical pre-mined garbage, which is trending to zero against BTC, but that won't stop Shitcoin Mag from running pro-ETH editorials written by an EOS, which is another crypto shitcoiner. This is the article in question, which was published yesterday by Yves LaRose, Beyond Tribalism, the Synergistic Future of Bitcoin and Ethereum, an argument for why Bitcoin and Ethereum can actually complement each other in the long term rather than exist as competitors. Now, this would be a fine article if it was published on your regular crypto site, but I expect something better from Bitcoin Magazine. This is Yves LaRose. It turns out he's the co-founder and CEO of EOS Nation, executive director of the EOS Network Foundation, and has been involved with EOS for many years now. Now, EOS, if you're not familiar, ran the oldest scam in the crypto industry playbook, which was basically, you give me your money and I'll give you something really special in return. It's actually dog crap, but let's pretend it's chocolate instead. In this case, you gave them Bitcoin or fiat, and they gave you EOS. This was the playbook that the issuers of EOS took, and we see here a blockchain startup just raised $4 billion without a live product. This is from May of 2018. Money was basically raised by this private company called Block.one, and then they issued everyone EOS tokens. This was founded and all done in the Caymans to try to escape the SEC, but they did end up getting sued by the SEC, settling charges for $24 million, which in this case is really just a slap on the wrist. So again, this was the deal. You get EOS crypto garbage. In exchange, we get fiat on Bitcoin, and then we buy more Bitcoin with the fiat that we got. And if we take a look, Block.one as a private company is now one of the largest holders of Bitcoin in the world. They basically gave crappy EOS tokens to everyone, and they used the proceeds to buy Bitcoin. They currently have 164,000 Bitcoin, which is worth approximately $10.3 billion at current prices. If you want to see what the people who exchanged their Bitcoin or fiat for EOS got, they got a declining, worthless token. And if we scroll out, you can see quite how bad it is. So anyone who's involved in EOS, this gives you an idea of the damage that they've wrought. If you're enjoying this video so far, I just ask you to help to support the channel. Clicking that subscribe button really helps. Click the thumbs up or like button. Leave a comment, question, suggestion for a future video. Also share this video with a friend or family member. So this EOS game is very similar to the game being played by David Bailey, who's the owner of the parent company of Bitcoin, Shitcoin Magazine. Let's try to confuse people by offering unethical scams. In this case, though, there's a new wrinkle on it. It's not a scam because it's built on Bitcoin. This is this investment, for example, called Bob, built on Bitcoin, which had other shitcoiners like Nick Carter investing in it, led by Castle Island Ventures, and then David Bailey's crypto fund, UTXO Management, also invested in it, and he's been promoting it on Twitter. Built on Bitcoin, basically you deposit and lock up your Bitcoin in ETH in order to harvest Bob Spice. So you lock up a real asset like Bitcoin, and you get Spice in return. The great thing about Bob, though, is Bob is building bridges, not walls. Bob's mission is to harmonize the strengths of both Bitcoin and Ethereum, creating a unified ecosystem that's resilient, innovative, and boundless. This is typical VC talk. David Bailey in this tweet saying, the reason I'm so confident Bitcoin Magazine will continue to flourish is because we don't prescribe any editorial position to our org. Just be smart, sincere, and mission aligned with hyper-Bitcoinization, unless, of course, someone's willing to pay money for a sponsored post, in which case we'll let your shitcoin slip through. That's it. No topics taboo. Formulate your own independent perspective. Is there a strict editorial firewall between Bitcoin Magazine and David Bailey's crypto fund, UTXO Management? I suppose there is, but it's funny how these editorial pieces fit so well. The one by Yves St. Rose, the EOS guy, how these editorial pieces fit so well with investments like Bob Spice that are trying to build bridges, not walls, between Bitcoin and Ethereum. And since when does Bitcoin Magazine run pro-Ethereum editorials written by an EOS shitcoiner? Is there some influence of UTXO Management on this? In this article, Yves St. Rose talks about how Bitcoin has assumed the mantle of store value and global reserve currency, which is obviously a huge accomplishment. Let's hear what ETH's accomplishment is. ETH has become the fuel that launched 100 EVM chains and 10,000 tokens. I think this is correct as well, as Saif Amoose prefers to put it. Ethereum is the mother, such and such, from which shitcoins spring. I think this is basically saying the same thing. Yves St. Rose goes on to say in the Bitcoin Magazine article, along the way, the continental drift pushing the two ecosystems, that is Bitcoin and Ethereum, apart has been expedited by Ethereum's move to proof of stake, leaving Bitcoin as the only top 20 coin aside from Doge still wedded to proof of work. While the differences between Bitcoin and Ethereum are stark, they are not irreconcilable. One of the most fascinating aspects of the chain's evolving use cases is the way in which each has emulated the other. Ethereum is well on its way to becoming a somewhat stable store of value of its own. Now, this is definitely not true. ETH has been collapsing ever since they moved to proof of stake, down 30-40%, whatever it is. ETH continues to bleed value against Bitcoin. So that's just simply not true. But this doesn't stop Yves St. Rose from talking about an obvious solution to scaling Bitcoin at the consumer level and building out new use cases is to utilize the functionality enabled by Taproot to create trustless bridges between Bitcoin and EVM compatible networks. In other words, use my shitcoin to scale Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin certainly doesn't need shitcoins like Ethereum to scale, but this is what you'd expect from an EOS guy. And he's going to encourage all of us, don't be so narrow-minded and tribalistic. Take your Bitcoin and bridge it over to my shitcoin network. This is exactly what you'd expect from an EOS guy. He ends his guest post by saying that all crypto communities should strive to shun the cutthroat behaviors Web 2 was built on and find ways to collaborate. Only once this is done can Web 3 realize its full potential, as if anyone cares about the future of Web 3, this foundation built on sand. Only once this is done can Web 3 realize its full potential. As Big E put it, can't we just all get along? This is a classic move. When a crypto tries to attack Bitcoin and Bitcoiners and fails, then the next step is to plead for friendship and solidarity. We're all in this together. This is the same thing we heard from the Ethereum community after they tried to throw us under the regulatory bus concerning proof of work and virtue signaling about their own proof of stake. They said we're all in this together. Yves St. Rose ends his article by asking, why can't we just all get along? But it's important to view this in the context of his own history, which involved the EOS Network Foundation suing Block One for an alleged failure to honor a $1 billion commitment. You didn't give me my fair share of scammy unregistered securities, in other words, EOS, for vaporware, so I'm going to sue you. It's almost like there's no honor among thieves. Can't we all just get along? I think we can, but first just quote the full Biggie song so that we know what's coming. Can't we just all get along so I can put hickeys on her chest like little Sean, get her pissy drunk off of Dom Perignon, and it's on and I'm gone. That's that. Lock up your BTC for Bob Spice. Bridge your BTC over to ETH because I'm chain agnostic. Then it's on and I'm gone. You're left with Bob Spice and I've got your Bitcoin. And that's that. Welcome to David Bailey's version of Bitcoin Magazine, Party and BS, and Party and BS, to quote Biggie Smalls. When David says I'm not going to apologize for being a Bitcoin maximalist, I would answer that Bitcoin maximalists don't give platforms to ETH or EOS scammers. It's also a really stupid long-term business strategy that's going to get readers of Bitcoin Magazine and people who attend the Bitcoin conference wrecked, because money is a winner-take-all game. Money converges to one. This was true in the analog age, and it's especially true in the digital age. So Yves St. Rose, his proposed bridges, and David Bailey's Bob Spice proposed bridges, these bridges from Bitcoin to EOS or Bitcoin to ETH are really just bridges to nowhere. It's just another version of the original EOS playbook. Give me your chocolate and I'll give you dog crap. So I would say, why not just be honest with us, David? Feel free to be the shitcoiner VC that you've always been when you pumped Poet, the Poet ICO, and this is what happened to investors in that. They're down 99.9% on this shitcoin that you launched. So David's free to return to his crypto VC roots. Just don't insult my intelligence by simultaneously marketing yourself as a Bitcoin maxi or telling me you can't stop what's going on at Bitcoin Magazine. These are the kind of mistakes. First, that sponsored post, and now this editorial by an EOS and ETH guy. These kinds of mistakes don't just keep happening accidentally. They're a symptom of a broken company culture that flows from the top. It's almost as if I made a pro XRP video on this channel, then somehow pretended that I had no control over that. Of course you have a control over the content that you put out. It's the kind of company culture at Bitcoin Magazine, I think, that you'd expect from a CEO who runs a crypto fund on the side while pretending to be a maxi. The smell of stinky cheese continues to rise, unfortunately, over at the previously great Bitcoin Magazine. Is it still rising to the level of greatness, max, or does it at this point just stink? If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the subscribe and like buttons. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video, and let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.